Hello and welcome to the beautiful Bailey Center Auditorium on the grounds of Wallace State College in Hanceville. Thank you to our gracious host, Wallace State College, and Dr. Vicki Karlowicz. The 2025 Debate Series and Question and Answer Forums continues today with municipal elections, more specifically the Good Hope and Vinemont municipal elections. These events are designed to give the public more unfiltered answers without questions ahead of time, direct comparisons, and meaningful conversation. First, we focus on the candidates running for Council Place 3 and Mayor of Good Hope. We begin with Place 3 with Susan Robinson Eller. Mr. Preston Pruitt was unable to attend due to a work commitment, so we shall proceed with a question and answer forum. But don't worry, I'll have some rebuttals. The Tribune works diligently to reach out to every candidate, but if a candidate declines to respond to emails or calls, there is only so much we can do. The invitation stands, the forum is open. If a candidate does not attend, an empty chair will sit beside those who do. This has been done at all debates in the past and this year. With that being said, we'll get on with it. Now with the rules for the candidates. No electronic devices permitted. Since we will not have a second candidate, today will just be a question and answer, so no back and forth. Third, opening statement is limited to 60 seconds and may be a prepared statement. Time allotted per question will be up to 3 minutes. Closing statement is limited to 90 seconds and must be spoken without notes. There will not be any rebuttals except from me. Facts only, no accusations without proof. This will allocate additional time to an opponent. Voters deserve substance over slogans. Talking points will not be enough. So let's begin. Ms. Eller, would you like to introduce yourself and tell everybody about yourself?
I would, thank you. Good afternoon, my name is Susan Eller and I'm running for re-election to the Good Hope City Council because I believe in continuing to build a stronger, more vibrant Good Hope. I'm a lifelong resident of this community, a graduate of Good Hope High School, attended Wallace State Community College, and today I'm proud to call Good Hope home with my husband Jim and our daughter Sarah. Over the years, I've seen firsthand the growth and opportunities in our city, and I'm excited to see how far we have come. During my time on the council, I've worked to expand our sewer system and upgrade the sewer treatment plant, support our schools, and help attract new business and industry that bring jobs and opportunity to our residents. I'm not just serving on the council, I'm your neighbor, and I care deeply about the future of Good Hope. Today, I look forward to answering questions which will hopefully help you see that I'm the best candidate for Good Hope City Council, place number 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those remarks. And now we'll get started. We'll start with question number 1, and this deals with infrastructure. What is the single most pressing infrastructure need in Good Hope right now, and how would you work with the council to address it?
We have actually been able to address a lot of our infrastructure needs throughout the years. We've been very blessed with the financial abilities, and at this present time we are currently expanding our water treatment plant, adding new equipment to that so that we can serve more people, so that will allow our community to grow. Also in the past 5 years, we've actually added sewer service to County Road 222, which has allowed us to take on numerous clients in that area. And as you drive down that road, you'll see Ethos, you'll see Bloom Winery. Vans has actually come into the city limits of Good Hope, and we've been able to serve all of those new businesses, and Loves and Dales in that area.
Okay. And when you have to come to the city council and everyone presents projects that need to be done, could you tell us how that process works?
I'm sorry.
When someone brings a project to you, or y'all are looking at a project, how does that process work when you're trying to decide what to do and prioritize?
Well, when people come to us, we look at, for example, we've just had a subdivision that has been unable to get a road paved. They were promised this in their subdivision purchase, and unfortunately it has not been able to occur, and I don't think the developer is going to be able to do that. So we, number one, look and see if, what the cost is of this project, We look and see if we have the funds that are available to do this project, and we look and see if it's beneficial. So the project that I'm talking about now is one that has helped grow our community. There is a shared sales tax within the Coleman County, and we get a lot of our funding from that shared sales tax, and by adding citizens into Good Hope, we get a greater share of that. So we want to make sure that we take care of the people that are there and that we help our community grow.
Thank you for that response. And we are going to move to question number 2. Growth versus small town character. Good Hope has seen steady growth over the years. How would you ensure that development benefits residents without losing the city's small town identity?
We have to look at, is this something that we need? And in my daytime job, I do retail development. So we all know that sometimes things just show up. We don't get to, if they come in our community, they meet the zoning, then they are allowed to come into our community. But if it's something that we get to work with, then maybe we can steer them to where we want them to go. We've done some ordinance in our community when Good Hope went wet, when the legalization of medical marijuana came in with in pharmacies and things like that. We actually created ordinances to address where those businesses can go, but we also didn't want to have a business on top of a business. Like, we didn't want to have alcohol. We wanted to be able to continue the integrity of our community. So we put distances in between those so that they wouldn't be just inundating our community. So we've tried to take that. The unfortunate part of Good Hope is we don't have a main street. That's the thing I think we're missing. So we do have some business commercial areas, and we like to keep our business in those areas and not intrude into our residential.
So a follow-up to that, since you don't have a main street, would you like to see more of a centralized, like, small business area?
And we do have that. If you know anything about Good Hope, which I think everybody here does, Good Hope really actually started out around Exit 304. Jack's Restaurant and all was probably one of our first things that came to that community, and we have our community has grown, our needs have grown, and then I guess about 10 years ago we added a second exit, and we actually worked with a engineering company on how we would like to see that area grow. Not just things just pop up, but how we could see not only the frontage, but also what is behind the frontage that can make all of it useful and not just that area.
So very planned growth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. And we'll move on to question 3, which is budget priorities. If you had to reallocate funds in the city budget, what area would you prioritize and what would you cut back on?
What was the last part of it?
If you had to reallocate funds in the city budget, what area would you prioritize and what would you cut back on?
Well, since I am place number 3, I am in charge of infrastructure. So priority for me is our sewer treatment plant, our sewer system. We also have some agreements with like Sprout, AT&T for Wi-Fi for our residents, because as we all found out during COVID, that is a super important aspect for our community. And you would think that with us being where we are at Good Hope, that would be something that was just a given thing, but where we live at Good Hope, we had internet, but my mother lived 600 feet from us and didn't have internet. So that became very important during COVID. And then also, but we have to maintain our streets. That's very important too. So we have those things, and I think we've been there again. Our budget has gone from $400,000 to over millions of dollars. So we've been blessed with the financial ability to address things as they come up and not have to put anything on the back burner right now.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. And with that answer, we will move on to question number 4 regarding public safety. Do you believe Good Hope currently has adequate police and emergency services coverage? If not, what changes would you propose?
We have, over the years that I have been there for a while, Good Hope has a contract with the Coleman County Sheriff's Office to provide safety for our community, and we actually have one of their offices across the street from our football field. So we are very blessed with having the coverage from the sheriff and his deputies in our community. And also we have got a couple of different fire department stations. There's one across from our sewer treatment plant. There's one on the east side of the interstate, and both of those are we have a very great volunteer fire department group, and I think we have addressed those needs really well. We could potentially add a police department, but at this time I feel that we've got significant coverage for that.
So if the city continues to grow, it could possibly open up to a police department?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We will move on to question number 5, which deals with parks and recreation. How important do you feel recreational spaces in city parks are for residents, and what improvements or expansions would you support?
Well, that one's very dear to my heart, because when I first went into office at Good Hope, we had metal playground equipment that was falling apart, and then one of our projects was to update our park playground equipment, and we did the park by the sewer treatment plant, and we added the plastic playground equipment there. We also added playground equipment at our ball fields, which was just, I mean, you could see people out there playing, and it made my heart happy that we had that, because when our daughter was young, we didn't have that privilege or that amenity. And also, and if you've driven through Good Hope lately, you'll notice our new, we call it the Red Park, that's right there on Old 69, and that has been a great addition. I've got friends that are coming down there playing pickleball, playing basketball. There's also a community health, it's kind of like a little mini gym outside there. And then we also are in the progress of putting in trails, which will not only allow our citizens to be able to have a place to walk safely, but it will also allow our school's cross-country team to do some trail runs through that area. So we're looking at expanding by doing a new covered area for people to do like picnic things there. So there's still some plans to do more there. And I think one of the things that I love about our community, and some people may not, but I love the sidewalks in our community. I think sidewalks has made our town a community, because where our house is in Good Hope, we have families that are walking by there exercising. We have families walking by with their children. They're learning to ride their bicycles. They're pulling them in wagons. And I think the parks and the playgrounds and the sidewalks have really made our community more friendly and more open to people.
And so y'all currently have other projects that are waiting to be fulfilled, but
yes,
ready
yes,
to go essentially.
Yes, and we want to add, we actually have in our plan for the Red Park is a water feature. That costs a lot of money, so we've had to put that on the back burner, but that is still something that I would love to see come to that park.
And so that would kind of provide a little summertime ease to parents and to children.
Because I think that's something that we're missing in our community.
Okay. Thank you for that. We will move on to question number 6, dealing with roads and traffic. I know everybody in Coleman loves roads and traffic. What steps should Good Hope take to improve road safety and manage traffic as the city grows?
Well, right now, I think one of our major issues is the Exit 304 bridge. And we have looked at that, and we are constantly contacting our representatives, our senators, our federal delegation to try to encourage them to help us with funding to replace that bridge. If you ever sit on that bridge when the light's red, you shake as people drive over it. So I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but that bridge I think has been there as long as I've been alive almost. And I think it's time that we should upgrade that. Traffic is a tricky situation. We have some traffic issues at between, I want to say 7:45 in the morning to 8:10. We have some traffic issues from about 3 o'clock to probably about 5:30, but it's hard to address those when there's such short periods of time. And when I think we have traffic, if it takes me 15 minutes to get home from where I'm going normally, and if it takes me 20 minutes, I don't think that's traffic. I think that's a little bit of a nuisance. I think when you call traffic, I think you're looking at adding 30 to 60 minutes to your drive is traffic. And I think that's when you start needing to look at how can we address traffic issues. I think our issue right now is more safety in the bridge at exit 304.
And so that's something that you would continue to push for and contact legislators and make sure that gets
And we're
done.
actually looking at cost estimates for that bridge. And you know, if you've been through Good Hope, you know when you go south over that bridge, that's a little bit of a tricky situation because you really only have enough room for 2 lanes right there. So it's going to have to have some engineering work to figure out the appropriate way to lay that bridge out.
Okay, thank you for that. We're going to move on to community engagement. How would you keep residents better informed and more engaged in city council decisions?
Good Hope has gone to 2 meetings per month now, and I would love to see more people there. I don't think we try to hide when our meetings are. You know, we have random people that show up at our meetings. And you know, when people talk about transparency, I think because we never meet in private. We actually have monthly, we have a what we call our work session. We have that work session in our main room where we have our council meetings, so anybody can come in at any time. Our staff does a really good job of kind of keeping our Facebook pages updated on what's going on. I think something that we could add is probably a sign out in front of our city hall where maybe something that can be updated electronically instead of having to have someone manually do that, so that can be changed quickly and it doesn't have old messages on it, so that they know when we meet, what times we meet. So I think that's part of that. I think engaging, I would love to see people engaged in our community, and we've actually, I think, done a little bit better job. I don't know if everybody knows, but we do a couple of events. We have a back to school bash, we have our Thanksgiving dinner, and we actually do a Good Hope Christmas parade. And at our back to school bash, our school has done a great job with their students, and a lot of the students now need volunteer hours. So those students come and help us with those events. They also do that at our Thanksgiving meal. If anybody's out there wants to come join us, our Thanksgiving meal is going to be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I think it's from 11 to 1. We'd love to have you come out. It's free. So that has turned into a really great community event. We serve lots of food. And then also our Christmas parade. I think we do a good job with that, and I hope to see more people get involved with that.
All right. So just trying to get, just to get the word out to people to please come to the council meetings. If you're concerned about something, come to the meeting.
Yes.
And is that, you mentioned that you have your work session open.
Yes, we actually do our work session in the room. We have a table at the back of the room where our council meets, and we just come in an hour before and sit at that, and people are welcome to come in and listen to us. That's where we do a lot of our discussions about projects and kind of dig down deeper into it a little bit. So
that way when they come to the council meeting, they kind of understand a little bit more about what's going on in the meeting?
Yes, and if anybody ever needs me, I mean, you can find me. I mean, my house is not that far from the road. You can pull up in my driveway. I'm not afraid to walk out and talk to people, and you can find me on Facebook. You can call me at work. You can call me on my cell phone. So I really try to be where people can reach out to me and get to me at any time.
All right. Thank you for that. And we're going to move on to question number 8, dealing with local businesses. What role should the city play in supporting small businesses, And how would you help attract new economic opportunities to Good Hope?
That's what I do every day. We actually work with our small businesses when they need something. Our industries, they always, my office is in charge of all the industrial parks, so we get asked to do things like, why is my gas not on? I'm going to have a gas shortage. I even have worked with industries. I've helped families get into school. I've helped them buy furniture. I've helped them do that. But recently, in the past 8 years, I've gotten really more into the retail development side of business attraction, and I have made some really great connections in this world. And because of our sales tax split, I'm able to locate businesses within Coleman County. The Jacks at Vinemont was one of my projects. The Jacks at Fairview was one of my projects. So I've been able to help those small communities get those into their town where they didn't have anything like that there. I do a reception in Las Vegas at a retail show every May. And this past May, I had 180 people at that show. And at that show, they were about 50% were communities from Alabama, but the other 50% were commercial realtors, commercial developers, and actually retailers that are looking at places to go in Alabama. So I have a lot of contacts in my phone. And just about a month ago, I was contacted by a commercial realtor out of Birmingham who said he left Vegas show with 3 contacts that were looking to put places in Coleman. And right now, there is a small share of the Coleman County sales tax that comes back to every municipality. And right now, Good Hope is living off of our share of the municipal tax. We have some other revenues, but what we live off of is that municipal tax share. So wherever we locate a business in Alabama or in Coleman, we get a little portion of that in Good Hope. And then I also have friends who are in the small business world, and so they have access to helping our businesses with small business development loans, with counseling, with helping create business plans. So I have a lot of tools in my toolkit to help with businesses either expand, work through issues they have, or to find a spot to locate their new business.
So if you have a small business that's either, let's say, just coming to Good Hope, wanting to start up, if they came in and they needed a little assistance, let's say with running a sewer line or something like that, something that larger corporations would get, is that something that would be accessible, or is that something that y'all would work towards?
Well, actually, that's one of the things we did with Vans. Vans wanted sewer, but to be on our sewer system, you have to live in or be in the city limits of Good Hope. So we ran the sewer to Vans and allowed them to come on, but we figured the cost on that. We recouped the cost of running that sewer to Vans within 3 years with our half-cent sales tax that we collect in Good Hope.
So y'all are already doing that with
We're doing that with them, but also in retail, there was a law passed about 10 years ago. It's called a 772. You can do things with your 772 bill that you couldn't do before then, which is you can actually give public money to a private entity. But you want to look at what your return is on those investments when they come into your community, because if it's not a good return, then it's just like anything. You may have to say no. So we've actually passed our half-cent sales tax a few years ago, and we put that money into a separate account so that we can use that to recruit businesses to our community. And we also created it's small, but we created a facade program in Good Hope, and we will pay you $1,500 per side to help improve the outside of your buildings. It's each side that you can see from the road. So if you have one side, then we do $1,500. If you have 3 sides, we could do up to $6,000.
Wow.
So we've got a little program there. So we have, with that new 772 law, we can do some things that you couldn't do about 10 years ago. You can do sales tax sharing, things like that. So we've got some some great things that we can work with our businesses.
So y'all are helping with beautification through that program?
Because we want our community to look good, because if it's not attractive, then that's going to turn people off and they're not going to want to stop there, because a lot of the people that come through Good Hope are just driving up and down I-65. They're stopping to get gas, they're stopping to get something to eat. So we want to make sure that they stop and they like what they see and come back. And you never know, they may stop and say, this is a great place and I might want to move here. So we want to make sure, and that's one of the projects also that we're working on right now. We got a grant from Congressman Adderholt, and we're actually putting lighting up on exit 305 to help with, make people feel safer when they're coming off of that exit, because I think that's one of the issues there, that it's dark.
Yep. Well, thank you for that. And we're going to move on to question number 9, which deals with annexation and expansion. Do you believe Good Hope should seek to expand its city limits through annexation, or should the city focus on improving within its current boundaries, and why?
Well, that goes back to when I was talking about the shared sales tax that we collect from, or that we get from Coleman County. So if we grow, we get more sales tax to put back into our community to make it a better community. So we like to see our community grow. We don't actively seek to annex property, but if someone comes to us and asks us to annex them, we look and see if it's legal first. Is it legal for us to annex them? Because are they in another community? Are they touching our boundaries? Because there are guidelines that you have to follow when you annex a piece of property. So we want to make sure all that is good. And I just lost my train of thought. Ask your question one more time.
And so so you're making sure that when annexations are done, that it's done correctly, that it follows the rules of at least touching. It's not in another community, county, or it has to be in where do they have to be in order to annex? Okay,
in order to annex into a city, you have to be touching something, and it can be just a corner. It could be corner to corner, but as long as you're touching, then you can request to be annexed into a city. So that you can be annexed by legislative act, but that's a whole different ball game, and we're not. That's not something that we're looking at doing or talking about even. So, but the main way to annex is to city. And when we grow, I think that was your other part of your question, growing. So that would be really with subdivisions coming into the community, making sure that we have the services where we can serve the subdivisions that do come into Good Hope, because when you do growth like that, and you're putting in septic tanks, there's only so much septic that you can put on a piece of property. So you have to make sure, if that doesn't occur, can your sewer system get to them? Is it feasible to run it to those houses and that kind of thing?
Okay, thank you for that. And we'll move on to the final question. Question number 10, future vision. In your view, what should Good Hope look like 10 years from now? And what policies would you support to move toward that vision?
10 years from now, so you're asking for a wand wave. So
if you had to look 10 years in the future, what would you want to see?
There's some businesses that I would like to see. I'd love to see a grocery store in Good Hope. I think that's something that we're in dire need of. We have a great little Dollar General, like a lot of different communities, but I would love to see us have a full-service grocery store there. I would love to see us, and that's some of the things I want to see is things that we're continuing to do. I'd love to see us continue to support our schools, because I think if you have a good school, then you're going to have a good community, because people want to be where those good schools are. And with the alcohol tax, that's allowed us to give back to our community. We give probably $50,000 at least a year to our school systems. We have some direct donations that we give to them, and another one that we've seen come in is we've actually created a $15,000 grant program, and the teachers actually apply for these funds, and those funds have been used to do things such as we've helped the band with their uniforms, we've helped the football, or we've helped all the athletes with a weight room, and then and we've even bought things like one teacher asked us for $82 for art supplies. And I think art is another very important thing for our students. So we want to be able to continue supporting our school and making it better, and making sure that the infrastructure to get to and from those schools, because I think every school has that issue, is getting to the schools and from the schools in the morning, and I think that's something that we need to work on and see if we can make that better. In 10 years, we'd have a perfectly flowing system that would allow mothers and dads to drop off their kids at all those schools and get to work, So there's a few retail things that I would love to see, and I think those retailers are moving south on Cherokee, and the next place they're going to go is Good Hope, and I'm very excited about that.
Well, thank you for answering these questions today during this question and answer forum. We are finished with the Q&A portion, and so now it is time for your closing statement. You have 90 seconds.
Okay. So thank you, Noah, for the opportunity to be here today. I appreciate you doing this, and Dr. Karlowicz for giving us the facility to be here today. First thing, I just want to say I live in Good Hope, but Good Hope formed me. Good Hope is where my grandparents lived and raised their family. Good Hope is where my parents lived and raised our family. And Good Hope is where we live and are raising our family. And that has become the Susan that I am today. I think leadership is very important in our community. Leadership is listening to your citizens, seeing what they need. I think leadership is asking questions. I think questions are very important, asking the right questions, and sometimes asking the hard questions, because sometimes people don't want to hear those hard questions. And I think that leadership is ensuring that our community is the best Good Hope that it can be. I want to continue progressing with some of the things that we've completed not completed, but seen occur during my time there. I want to continue supporting our schools, our educators, and our students, because I think that's very important, because I think there's limited monies that come down from the school boards, and I know that it's great for the things that we've got to give to them to make their classes a little more fun, and then also want to see that our businesses continue to thrive. And like I said, I'd like to see a few more businesses located in Good Hope, and I would like that our citizens have the Good Hope that they deserve, because they've chose that to be home. And last but not least, it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve on the Good Hope City Council for several years. And hopefully after listening to me today, you will also feel like I'm the best candidate for Good Hope City Council place number 3. I'm here to keep working for Good Hope, and I want to make Good Hope the best it can be for our citizens.
Thank you so much for those closing remarks. And with that, we are finished with today's debate. Next, we have the debate between the Good Hope mayoral candidates. That is coming up shortly. I want to thank Susan Eller for coming in today and answering our questions. I know coming up on stage and having to deal with a reporter is not always the funnest thing to do.
It's easier when you're sitting in my office.
But I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank everybody in the crowd who showed up today. I want to thank everybody who's watching at home. And just remember to get out and vote. Thank you, and we'll be back shortly.